Welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner. Christian Morgan and Eric Chilton are both here this afternoon working from home. We are practicing social distancing, but of course we are still connected with each other and with you on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter right now. Use our hashtag 4 to 5 to chat with us. Well, let's start this afternoon with an announcement from the state. Of course, school closings have made an impact on more than kids' education. Many families rely on schools to get the food to their kids each day. Now those meals are missing. But the state says they're going to help more. Dr. Mandy Cohen says families with kids who get free and reduced lunch will now get more state money. They'll pay up to $370 per child in 2 installments. If you're already enrolled in SNAP benefits, you'll get those installments loaded to your card automatically. Families who are not enrolled in a food and nutrition program will get a card in the mail by the end of the month. Triad school districts are revealing how they plan to honor graduating seniors, from drive-thrus to parades to virtual graduation ceremonies. School district officials say despite the challenges, they want students and their families to have their moment. WFMI News 2's Aduria Chumba is live with those details.
Western Guilford High School is one of the 28 schools in the Guilford County system where they will have a drive-through graduation recognition event. Now, students in their caps and gowns can drive up to a designated stage area, step out of their car to get their diploma and take photographs. Families and well-wishers can also join in with the students in the drive-through event. Now, of course, there are mixed feelings about this plan. I spoke to one mom who said the plan is not the most ideal for her daughter who's graduating from Grimsley High, but it's better than nothing at all.
They're continuing to try to do things as much as we can. I don't think anything's going to replace the traditional commencement, but not having anything would have been a complete disappointment. So at least having some opportunity.
Officials say they decided on this plan based off of feedback from the students who objected to a virtual event, and after taking a look at event venue options available. They also concluded that it is the safest format, which will allow for adequate social distancing in light of the coronavirus pandemic.
What our superintendent heard from senior class presidents is that they would much rather wait and have a graduation later when it is safer to do so, because they would like to have the same opportunities for graduation that the class of 2019 and every previous class had.
At a later date, once health officials deem it safe to do so. The Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools, though, will hold online graduation ceremonies as well as a drive-through diploma pickup for 16 of their high schools. Now, Mount Airy, meanwhile, is holding a citywide graduation parade for seniors on Friday.
Well, of course, we all want to honor our seniors this year. Their graduations have been, of course, greatly affected by the pandemic. So that's why we do our senior shout outs. I'm sure you've seen this over the last few weeks or so. And here are some of the graduates that we are featuring today. Let's start out with Rashawn Pleasant, who's graduating from Northern Guilford High School. The Nighthawks there. His father says he's a fun and caring son who loves playing sports. Good for him. Jada Williams, a senior at Rocky Mount Prep School, loves music and writing. And after graduation, Jada is entering the United States Air Force with a job in cybersecurity systems. Hannah Lucas is a senior at North Moore High School, a 4-year member of the marching band, first chair in percussion and all-county band and band captain, also a member of the FAA. Hannah wants to pursue a career as a dental hygienist. Now, if you want to share your senior shout-outs with us, you just look for the submission form on our website. Submit a photo of your senior, but not professional photos. We want the candidates there. Give us their name and their school and some information, whatever it is that you'd like to pass along, a message and a shout out, of course, for your particular kid there. Now, all right, so another way to honor your senior is to give them a sweet surprise. And we're talking about a Triad favorite here. Krispy Kreme is now introducing the 2020 Graduate Dozen. This is about the coolest thing I've heard in a while. All next week, seniors and their families and friends can get this special. And by the way, it's not just for high school seniors. On Tuesday, May 19th, seniors can get a free dozen as well. I assume that means senior citizens. Just wear your cap and gown or some of your class of 2020 swag to show that you're really a senior in college, senior in high school, whatever it takes, and you can get your free donuts. I'm in.
Now let's get you caught up with your 4 to 5 roundup this afternoon. Exciting news for music lovers. Plans for the North Carolina Folk Festival are moving forward, but it's going to look a little bit different. The music festival brings thousands of people to Greensboro every year. Right now you're taking a look at some video from last year's event. Organizers say the festival will be modified to align with social distancing guidelines. They did not give an exact date for this year's festival, but they say it will happen in September. President Donald Trump's former campaign chairman was transferred from prison to home confinement. Paul Manafort requested his release because he says the coronavirus poses a threat to his health. The 71-year-old suffers from liver disease and respiratory issues. Last year, Manafort was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison for cases involving tax and bank fraud. No word yet on if the house arrest is temporary or permanent. The House released a proposal for an aid package that would bring more relief to Americans. Now, this stimulus package includes federal student loan forgiveness and $200 billion in hazard pay for essential workers. The bill also includes $25 billion for the U.S. Postal Service. The Postal Service could run out of money by the end of September without a bailout. The House could vote on the package as soon as Friday, but Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says there's no urgency for the Senate to act. And a High Point University student is looking to spread a little bit of joy during this tough time. Theater major Shane Maggard brought out an old Snow White costume and started making videos for parents to show to kids. Maggard has recorded more than 50 videos in character and sent them off as far as Colorado. She says it feels good to take the focus off herself and to help others in any way.
I'll tell you what, weather-wise, we've been hanging on to some extra clouds throughout the day, and we've been staying cool too, but the sun is finally starting to peek out a bit. You can see some Carolina blue sky over in Winston-Salem, and the clouds trying to thin out over Greensboro. But we're still in the 60s, 64 in Greensboro right now, 62 down in Asheboro, 67 in High Point, 63 in Lexington. As we go through the evening, those clouds will clear out a bit, but then they actually start to build back in overnight. So we're going to start Thursday mostly cloudy, some of those clouds lingering throughout the middle of the day, but then they should start clearing out pretty good in the afternoon. And tomorrow is a much warmer day of weather and also starts our warming trend over the next several days. So overnight clouds are pretty likely. It won't be as cold as we've been the last few nights, only dropping down into the mid-50s for overnight lows. Tomorrow, going to start cloudy, but the clouds will start clearing out in the afternoon. We'll make it into the upper 70s, even some spots getting near 80 tomorrow afternoon. Our big warm-up gets here, though, as we get to the weekend. Temperatures in the mid-80s on Saturday and Sunday. That heat will hang around for a few days, but actually we drop back to the 70s as we head into the middle of next week.
Well, if you are like me, you use the extra time you've had at home to do a little cleaning out, and thrift stores are feeling the impact of that. The manager of Bargain Box in Greensboro, Randall Ariel, says she had to come in weeks before they were allowed to reopen just to sort through all of the items that people dropped off.
Donations have been coming in nice and steady, a couple every hour or two. We definitely had some good donations right before we opened. We spent a few days and a couple weeks in the store before accepting donations. And I spent 2 days with one of my staff members right before we opened, getting everything ready and all the new merchandise priced so that our customers would have fun new things to shop.
And the store opened its doors to those customers on Saturday as our state entered phase 1 of reopening. Now it's all about selling those donations to make some room for more. Ariel says customers seem ready to shop and support small businesses like Bargain Box.
Everybody was just so relieved to be out of the house. They were so gracious and thanked us for opening and said, "We're so happy you're back in business. We missed you." I was like, believe me, we missed y'all so much more.
Now they are taking some extra steps to keep customers and employees safe, including more sanitizing and closing at 4 o'clock to do some deep cleaning. Everyone is asked to wear a mask when they shop, and of course you can see that they're cleaning out the dressing rooms for each customer as well. Bargain Box is a nonprofit on Milk Street in Greensboro, and proceeds from their sales help several local organizations within the Junior League. And women from the Women's Resource Center can actually go to Bargain Box and shop for free. So those donations that everyone has brought in are really making a difference, Eric.
You know what? It makes me think that I wonder if, because people just miss people. I think that's kind of the bottom line. And it's kind of funny to hear her comment about we miss you. I miss you. I miss you. I wonder when all this lifts, if people are just going to be so excited to see another human being besides their immediate family, no matter what business it is.
Yeah, well, I hope when it is all safe to do so, everyone goes out, because that will help small businesses just like Bargain Box. If people are itching to get out and shop, I mean, there are opportunities to do that now in a safe way.
It's true. You got to do what you got to do, right? Just to kind of keep things going till we can get back to normal.
Yeah, I have a big bag of clothes that I need to bring Randall. So if you're watching, I'm coming. I have my donations ready. They're in the trunk of my car. We'll be right back.
You know, it seems as though the stay-at-home order could be causing concern for people with mental health issues. Now, health experts worry about a new issue, and that's mental health problems for anyone who wasn't dealing with problems before. So the Kaiser Family Foundation did a poll. They found that 56% of adults worried about their mental health during the pandemic. Dr. Draper, who's with the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, told CBS News that isolation is causing people to stress about three major topics: fear of the uncertain future, our inability to control the virus, and how long the pandemic will last and what impact it'll have on the economy. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline, however, has not seen an increase in calls.
Well, with so much focus on COVID-19, state health officials are now reminding you that they're also concerned about mental health. Dr. Mandy Cohen from the State Department of Health wants to remind everybody to take care of themselves.
We need to be thinking about whole person health, not just physical health. For those that may need help managing their mental health, please contact your mental health provider or an expert.
Yeah, certainly no shame in finding someone to talk to about that if it's something you need.
And isolation is bad for everybody if you take it to an extreme. Everybody likes a little quiet time, I get it, but during this, it's in excess. So if you have any thoughts of someone you know and you're concerned a little bit, it's worth a reach out with a phone call just to make sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's plenty of things going on right now that can increase anxiety. I know myself, I'm worried about the virus. I'm also worried about the economy and things of that nature. So just talking it out with family and friends helps me a lot. And then, professional help is always an option too for people.
Always a good option too. Very true.
I'm glad to see state health officials really putting an emphasis on that as well. We talk about how mental health and physical health are so connected too. So very good. All right, well, we are still chatting with you on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page. You know what? We're also live on YouTube and on Twitter. So if you want to log on there, we are happy to see you. Just use our hashtag 4 to 5. We'll be right back.
You know, you hear a lot of people saying that every business is suffering out there. We hear this all the time. And for the most part, that is true. But there's one industry that is exploding. And if you had kids, you might be able to guess what it is. It's bikes. And the numbers are really impressive. Take a look.
It looks like something in a Norman Rockwell painting, but this is what our neighborhoods look like during quarantine. Bikes are everywhere. Kids on bikes are everywhere. Adults are doing it too, but a lot of this is just kids. And you know what? It goes back to the old days before video games, when kids were forced to get outside and play. Bike sales in the United States and really all across the world have gone through the roof. Halfords, which is Britain's largest bike manufacturer, showing sales up by 500% in Detroit. It's called Detroit Bikes. They've actually seen their sales go up 645% in April, and in March it went over 1,000% in sales online. Folks are also reporting on social media that they're having a tough time even finding bikes online. A lot of the hopes across the world is that now, as restrictions gradually ease, some of these large bike manufacturers can get back to making these bikes. And maybe in the future, there's some speculation that bike travel may be on the rise over commuting by car. We'll see as restrictions continue to be reevaluated and loosened little bits, weeks at a time. Until then, the American love affair with the bikes and kids will go on.
So I can tell you firsthand, Maddie, that we tried to get Tyler, my 10-year-old son, a bike, and it was nearly impossible. We ordered from one major company, which shall remain nameless, and that got lost at one warehouse. Somebody, they think, stole it from the warehouse. That's how much people want these bikes. And then when we got another company to send us a bike, it was damaged. Now we got to get a new one. So it is truly difficult right now to get a bike.
You know, Eric, it's so funny because Glennis on our live stream on WFMY News 2's Facebook page just posted, tried to find a new bicycle, but no luck. She didn't even know about the story yet. So that's how in demand these bicycles are.
Yeah. It's extremely difficult right now, and I have to tell you that you're going to have to look in strange places and not the normal big box stores that you might think. I actually found one on Tractor Supply. Believe it or not, they sell bicycles online.
Yeah, it's a good time to get out there and ride a bike. Fun fact, I knew how to do a backflip before I knew how to ride a bike. So what does that tell you about my childhood? Very deep in the cheerleading world, right?
That just not surprising.
All right, can't do the backflip, but can still ride a bike. We'll be right back. Welcome back to your 4 to 5. You know, everybody is working at home these days for the most part, and Twitter may allow employees to continue to work from home even after the coronavirus pandemic. CEO Jack Dorsey wrote a letter to employees saying they'll likely not return to offices by September. And then he added that employees don't have to return to the office at all if they don't want to. Dorsey says for those interested in coming back to work, the process will be slow and deliberate to make sure employees can do so safely.
You know, working from home is not a new concept. In 2017, there was a study that found at least, and this number kind of shocked me, 4 million American workers worked from home at least part-time back then. Research previously showed that working from home increases productivity, but that might look a little bit different now that we're all in this pandemic. So here are some of the numbers here. 40% of Americans say they are less productive working from home now. 40% also say they're working fewer hours, anywhere between 1 and 10 hours less than they normally would. I hope that's in a week. If you're working 10 hours less a day, you're not working. On the flip side, 33% of those surveyed say they're actually putting in more hours, up to 16 more hours per week.
Yes, but do people like working from home more than they like going into the office? You are talking about it on Facebook. Adrian Dennis said, I absolutely love working from home. It's amazing. I'm saving so much money because I eat from home and I don't have to pay for gas. Good point there. Heather Harness said, I love working from home, cuts off the 20 minutes I have to drive, and I'm getting up later because of it. Laugh out loud. But Pam Kennedy said, back at it this week in the office and love it. A lot of us were furloughed and did not get paid to stay at home nor eligible for unemployment. I have a mortgage and bills to pay. I am blessed to be back. Yes, certainly people ready to get back to work if they're in that situation. Okay, so Eric, you're doing most of your work from home, all of it really. So how has it been for you?
Yeah. So, I just had this conversation with our boss just yesterday because at first I thought I am such a social person, I will hate this. It's actually has not been what I thought it would. I have adjusted to it. Do I want to do it forever? Maybe not, but to do this here and there and to do it challenges you creatively to try to come up with story ideas and execute everything from your house. I'll tell you that much.
It is not an option if you ask me for you to stay at home because I need you back in this studio. I am lonely. Christian Morgan, you are also working from home. What do you think? Do you want to come back to the station or are you fine staying at your house?
Well, first off, I miss all of you, so yes, I want to come back for that reason. Second off, I feel like it's hard to get motivated at home. There's just so many other distractions and so many things that you can do and that you can, get into. So for me, there's something about, getting up and leaving the house and actually going into the office or going into the studio to do work, and it kind of puts me in that mindset to do work. So I don't want to do this forever, and I cannot wait to get back into the studio with all of you as well.
Yeah, I'm working from home most of my day, and then I come in to anchor the show. I do like being able to wear sweatpants to work for the first few hours. All right, Christian, what's the forecast looking like?
Yeah, there's something about comfort that's nice. And speaking of comfort, it's actually pretty comfortable outside this afternoon. Temperature-wise, we're still hanging out in the 60s, and we have had some extra clouds across the area as well. Here's our current weather setup. We've got high pressure in control of our weather that's going to stay in control of our weather over the next several days. But as it slides off to the east and off the coast, that's going to start our warming trend. So this is the last cool day for quite some time. We warm up into the 70s tomorrow, and then we warm up big time as we head into the weekend with temperatures soaring into the 80s. It'll feel like a little taste of summer. Like I said, we've had some extra clouds today. Those will thin out a little bit as we go through the evening, but then extra clouds will actually start to build back in tonight, and some of those clouds could linger through the morning hours tomorrow before they start to make their way out tomorrow afternoon. Temperature-wise, most of us are in the mid-60s across the board right now. Tonight, not going to be all that cold, dropping down into the mid-50s for overnight lows. Tomorrow, we're in the 70s, upper 70s to near 80 for afternoon highs. By the weekend, though, temperatures soaring into the mid and upper 80s. Some folks could even see 90 by the end of the weekend.
Hello, Mike. Oh gosh, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together like a classic combination.
Good afternoon and welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Eric Tilton and Christian Morgan this afternoon. Remember, this is an interactive newscast. That's why we live stream on social media. Join our conversation and use our hashtag 4 to 5. Ashley Furniture is looking to hire in the Triad. The Davie County manufacturing facility needs to fill more than 100 full-time positions, according to our news partners at the Triad Business Journal. The company says they need to keep up with an increased demand for home furniture. Ashley Furniture officials say employees have the ability to grow their careers along with their salary and benefits.
Well, Guilford Parent Academy is creating more content for parents while they're home with their kids. And I'm sure this is in response to parents needing a little bit of help here. The new content includes tutorials for using Canvas. And Canvas is the website that Guilford County Schools is using for online classes. You can find video topics about bullying and internet safety, homework help on this, learning sign language, and pre-K tips as well. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll get notifications there every time they post new content.
Now let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup this afternoon. Food and nutrition services recipients will see a boost in benefits during the pandemic. The State Department of Health and Human Services says eligible families who receive food stamps will get the maximum amount allowed for the month. About 320,000 households will start to see the extra money on their EBT card starting May 22nd. Well, get ready to roll out your yoga mat. Dancing Dogs Yoga Studio in Greensboro wants to bring yoga to you. So namaste in your neighborhood and take a class with your neighbors without leaving your yard. You can be in your yard or your porch as long as everyone follows social distancing guidelines. Both beginners and experts are welcome to book a class. Just email greensboro@dancingdogsyoga.com. Well, happy birthday to Winston-Salem. On this day in 1913, the town of Salem and the city of Winston merged to form a new city that we know and love as Winston-Salem. A Moravian bishop founded Salem in 1753. Winston, named after Joseph Winston, was created as the county seat for Forsyth. That was in 1849. Now, it took a couple of tries to get the name down, but Winston-Salem stuck. It was the final verdict. Today, more than 240,000 people live in the city. Looking ahead, Harris-Teeter is going to start free coronavirus testing in Guilford County. So over the next 2 weeks, on Friday, Saturday, and Monday, you can get one of those free tests from 10 until 4. The drive-thru location is in High Point. It's the parking deck on West Commerce Avenue. Now, you do have to have an appointment first, and you can find those details on our website.
So Governor Andrew Cuomo wants New York hospitals to test children now for coronavirus if they're showing signs of this mysterious illness. Now, the governor says the illness is a multi-system inflammatory illness that affects kids, and they believe this virus could be related to coronavirus. State is investigating about 100 cases. 3 children have died from the illness so far. Health experts say the virus seems similar to Kawasaki disease, which is a rare illness children get after having multiple viral infections.
These children don't present the usual COVID symptoms. They're not respiratory symptoms. And I think that's one of the reasons why people haven't found it yet.
And the nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, issued a similar warning in his Senate testimony yesterday. Fauci says reopening our nation too soon could lead to more outbreaks, and he says there's still a lot to be learned about the virus, especially its impact on kids.
And we really better be very careful, particularly when it comes to children, because the more and more we learn, we're seeing things about what this virus can do that we didn't see from the studies in China or in Europe.
And weather-wise, yes, it's May, but we also have a little bit of tropical mischief out in the ocean. We're watching an area of low pressure that could develop into our first tropical system of the year as we head into the weekend. There's about a 70% chance of that developing over the next 5 days. Right now, doesn't look like it would pose any threat to land, and especially the U.S., but of course it is something that we're keeping our eyes on. And it might seem a little outlandish that we're talking about tropical systems this early in the year, but you got to remember, hurricane season actually starts the 1st of June, and the last 5 years have actually featured some sort of tropical activity ahead of schedule. The last 5 years, and even 2 in 2016. Temperature-wise right now, we're in the 60s. Tonight we'll drop back down into the 50s, so not quite as cold as we were the last couple nights. And tomorrow starts our big warm-up. We'll be in the 70s tomorrow, near 80 on Friday. But the biggest warmth arrives over the weekend, with temperatures in the mid-80s on Saturday, even some upper 80s on Sunday. Some folks could even get close to 90. But I do tend to think that our heat wave actually backs off a little bit as we head into the middle of next week, and temperatures getting back to the 70s for Tuesday and Wednesday.
Well, Pedigree wants to help shelter dogs find a home. They are sponsoring, and I think this is really cool, virtual adoptions in partnership with the Nashville Humane Association. So every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, a Zoom meeting will be held at 6 p.m. Anybody adopting a dog can actually pick up the dog from a shelter through curbside pickup. Pedigree Foundation, by the way, covers adoption fees for all dogs featured in adoption. I saw this earlier today, Maddie, and when you look at the video, if you Google the Zoom video, it's so cute because you just see the dogs. Once in a while, a shelter employee will come up and hold the dog up to the camera, and it's just adorable. And I love the idea that you can stop by and just pick up your dog with curbside pickup.
Yeah, don't send me that link. Don't post it anywhere where I can find it, because I'll end up adopting like 7 dogs and figuring out a way to get to Tennessee safely to adopt them. That's too tempting.
I know. I'm with you on that. I'm going to watch from a distance.
All right, let's check in with Tanya.
You know who this is, right? It's good old Scammy Sammy. Okay, the cartoon, it's kind of funny, right? I use it to get your attention. But the main point is that there are people out there who are trying to get your money and trying to get your financial identity as well, which is why I want you to see this right here, because you can get a free credit report every single week.
Wow, this is big, because it used to be you could only check that report once a year for free, right?
That's right. And so with all the COVID-19 scams and stuff going around, especially the stimulus money, you've heard of those scams too, right? The government is giving you a little extra protection. So I want to show you this. You can protect yourself by checking your credit report. It shows what credit cards, loans, or lines of credit are in your name. And if you see the list and you see something fishy out there, you need to take action. So I'm going to show you what to do coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. In the meantime, I want you to take a look at this, because there is a difference between using your credit card versus using your debit card.
Right, and a lot of folks assume that they work the same, especially because you can use your debit card as a charge card.
Right, because they say, do you want to run your debit as a charge? And so people say yes, right? But here's the bottom line. If you use your debit card to buy something, money comes out of your bank account. If you use your credit card, it is simply a charge. You're not actually out the money.
Right, so the debit card, it really doesn't offer you as much protection because it's tied to that bank account.
That's right. It means if Scammy Sammy gets your card, your debit card, then they have your bank account. So anytime you're going to let your card out of your sight, you want to give them your credit card, not your debit card. All right, in about an hour, we're taking your questions. We're talking about everything from workplace safety, now that some businesses are open. And at 5:30, we're going to get you answers. So text your questions, 336-379-5775. We're also going to be talking to an attorney about wills, power of attorney, estate planning, and that's become really important the last couple of weeks.
All right, WFMY News 2, we are set to upgrade our broadcast signal. Now, if you're watching me right now on cable, satellite, or a streaming provider, then you don't have to worry about this. But if you have cut the cord and now you're getting us over an over-the-air antenna, then pay close attention to that. And by the way, the video you're seeing is all the upgrades that are happening as we speak. So right now until May 15th, WFMY will be broadcasting out of our auxiliary antenna while upgrades are being done on the main antenna. On Friday, that's this Friday, you will need to rescan your TV to make sure it receives our new broadcast channel. You go into the menu settings on your remote, look for setup or installation in the menu. There you'd look for the word auto program or program channels and press scan. You'll want to scan the over-the-air channels. It only takes a few minutes. Again, this change will take place this Friday, May 15th, and it's for customers that watch us using a TV antenna. We're coming back. All right, let's be honest, not that we need a reason to eat more pie, but in case you didn't know, it is National Apple Pie Day. But baking is not easy, so I asked the folks at the Cherry Pit Cafe to give us a few tips. Take a look.
So April, I would think that apple pies are pretty standard, probably one of the most asked for pies out there. That's why we have a national day for it. Is that the case? Is apple pie something you guys always have on tap?
We do. We actually have two different pies, apple pies. We have a double crust apple, which is kind of a more traditional apple. And then we have an apple crumb, which is my favorite. That's the one with the streusely cinnamon sugary top.
Now, so if someone's doing this at home, and I have never tried, in all honesty, I've never tried to do an apple pie, but are there tips and tricks kind of to make it go quickly? And what are some of the common mistakes I think people do?
There's a couple different ways to make an apple pie at home. You can slice up fresh apples and kind of line them up in your pan and hope that they cook fully by the time that's done baking. Another way is to take fresh apples and cook them in like a pot with water and sugar and brown sugar, and then pour them into a pie shell and then bake it from there. And that's sort of what we do at work is we kind of par bake the apples. We like to peel them ahead of time so that you don't have the skin and those sort of things. But there's a couple different ways. But for some people, getting the one sheet of dough across the top and pinching it all along the sides is more complicated. For others, is we lattice it by hand. I tend to like those a little bit better. I think that they look a little bit cooler and there's not quite as much crust.
Well, thank you very much. Oh, by the way, you guys do have some on hand, right?
We do, lots and lots on hand.
That's what I thought. All right, thanks a lot, April. Appreciate it.
Well, if you don't feel like baking, the Cherry Pit Cafe is keeping normal hours these days. We've linked you to their website and their menu. Just look for this story on WFMYnews2.com. We do not need a reason for pie. That's all I have to say.
We've had a reason for about 2 months to eat pie, and it's because we were staying at home. That's what I think about it.
That is so true. It is so true. So I asked you on Facebook to let me know what your favorite dessert was, and the masses have spoken, and some of them are being quite quick about this. Like, are you kidding me? It's blank. Let's take a look. We'll start out with Robert Bondurant. He says, and I agree with Robert on this, hot apple pie with vanilla ice cream, period. That's all you have to say. Kelly Queen even said it more simply and just said apple pie. That is her favorite. Larry Miller went about as minimalist as you can go. He said apple. Like that, you know, they have spoken now. Now, when I think about this, I have to say coconut cream pie and blueberry pie are my two. Well, and lemon meringue. Those are my top three.
I like coconut. Are we just limited to pie right now? Because I love all pies, but really my weakness is cake. Can I say cake?
Okay, yeah.
Caramel
we can do
apple
that.
cake.
Yes.
Caramel apple cake. Goodness gracious. I'll go head first into a whole 12-inch round of that one. Christian Morgan, save me because now I'm salivating. What's your dessert? What's your go-to?
Golly, I am hungry, and I just want to point this out. There's somebody in our chat on Facebook, Wanda, that says Eric should bring Maddie, you and I, a piece of pie, and I totally agree with that. But let me tell you this, anything with Oreo, and I'm in. All right, my brother makes this incredible homemade Oreo pie. He makes the crust out of Oreos. He crushes it up, does it all from scratch. And now I'm getting hungry thinking about it. That's probably my favorite dessert, though. Anything with Oreos in it.
Yeah, that's a good call. You know, I will say I usually get upset because Chilton gets to do all the food stories, but he's stuck at home now, so he doesn't get to go out and go to the restaurants and the cafes and actually get the food anymore. So that's, you know, helped me sleep at night because he's not getting to eat as much anymore. And he never brings any back.
I have an excuse.
Yeah. All right. What's the forecast?
He owes us when we get back in the studio. All right, let's talk about weather. Weather-wise, it's a pretty nice day outside. In fact, we've warmed up quite a bit, especially once our clouds have started to thin out a bit. We stayed in the upper 50s and lower 60s so far for most of the day, but once we've got a little bit of sun peeking out, we've warmed up into the mid 60s, and you can see that sun breaking up in Greensboro now, but a few extra clouds back in Winston-Salem. And as we go through the evening hours, yes, we'll see a break in those clouds, but they will start to thicken up again as we head overnight. And in fact, we're going to start tomorrow morning with mostly cloudy skies. By the afternoon, those clouds will start to leave. We get some sunshine and we warm up much, much above the 60s like we were today. Tonight not going to be all that cold either. We'll drop back into the mid 50s overnight, so it'll be mild. Tomorrow we're going to start out in the 50s with some extra clouds. We'll be at about 70 by lunchtime, and then by the afternoon temperatures are well into the upper 70s, even close to 80 in some neighborhoods. Our big warmth starts to arrive over the weekend. We'll be in the mid 80s on Saturday, even upper 80s on Sunday. I think it's possible some folks could even get close to 90 by Sunday afternoon. Another warm day on Monday, but I'm also starting to believe that our warm weather might take a little bit of a break as we head into the middle of next week, with a little bit of cooler air starting to make a return. Just for a short time though, and it wouldn't be anything right now. I don't tend to think that it would be as cold as we were the last few days, but I do think it drops us back into the 70s for a couple of days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and maybe Thursday of next week.
Yo, this is a mic check for you as I attach this to my body. There's the microphone. Here's the mic check. We're going to talk about these silly willy hurricane names. 1, 2, 3. For which hit, the A block or the C block? I hadn't planned on talking in the A block, but if you want me to, I can. I can do that. Okay, that's fine. All right.
The 2020 hurricane season list of names was just released. Now, first up is Arthur, but some of these names are a little bit harder to pronounce, and that's why we have someone like Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley ready to teach us how to properly say these names.
It's time. The hurricane names of 2020. A is for Arthur. Bertha. Oh man, we don't want that one again. Cristobal? Okay, Cristobal. Dolly. Edward? Yes, Edward. Faye. Gonzalo. Hannah. Isaias. Josephine. Kyle. Laura. Marco. Polo. Nana. Omar. Paulette. Renee. Sally. Teddy. Vicky. And Wilfred.
Isaias. I hope we don't get to item.
Oh boy. I hope I'm off that week. These names can be tricky to pronounce, Maddie, but I did a little research on this a few years ago, and what's interesting to me is the names on the list are representative of all the countries that get hit by Atlantic hurricane names. So it's not just the United States, it's also places like Haiti or the Dominican Republic or Mexico or Cuba. So that's why sometimes for us they're hard to say, but there's an explanation for everything, right?
Right, yeah. Well, that makes more sense now, why they're a little bit more difficult to say. And do they alternate? Is that right, male and female names?
Yeah, so get this, when they started naming them in the 50s, they were all female names. And then eventually people said, that's not really fair. These cause death and destruction. We want to change that. So they're alternating male, female down the list. That change was made back in the 70s. So I think that's fair.
Okay, so why do they stop at W? Where's XYZ?
Can you suggest some XYZ names? I think that's the big reason, right? There aren't a lot of those.
Zane. Someone hire me. National Weather Service, here I am.
If we had Maddie doing this, we would figure it all out just like that. So Maddie's help is appreciated. Thank you.
Is it weird that I've always kind of wanted my name to be used, not for a bad storm, but just for something?
I've kind of wanted that too. It's never been on the list. There's never been a Hurricane Tim. Number one, it's hard to get to T in the first place, but we'll see what happens. Do you have a favorite this year? My favorite is Nana or Nana.
I like Teddy, but it's really not indicative of what it's naming. Teddy seems soft and comfortable. Hopefully we don't even get to Arthur. We don't want any of that this year. We've dealt with enough in 2020. We'll be right back.
Okay, but why do you need one? Callie, it's Callie.
Hi there, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado.
Situation, but it's a chance to see her friends before they go off to college. Mike check 321. Guilford County Schools postponed its traditional
Today we're going to talk about TikTok. Wait. If you're over the age of, 40, 45, don't do that. If you're over that age, you're probably like, But some people are doing cool things with this. You can watch the dance challenges on TikTok. They're kind of funny. Once you've seen about 20 minutes of it, you've probably seen all you ever need to see on TikTok. But I'm going to tell you this one, that's the Blinding Lights Dance Challenge. It's the song Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. A lot of kids are getting their parents to do it with them. Now that is entertainment, my friends. Take a look. I like this. Not too bad. This dad jumps in with his 2 kids. Yeah, that's a parent that might have spent a little time dancing on the dance floor back in the 80s, possibly 70s. This next one I love because she put on here, my dad spent 2 hours practicing this. Good for him. Couple little, a little slow out of the gate. Couple of mistakes there, but overall, not a bad effort. I give you an 8. This next one, the daughter says it best in her caption, Dad's on a whole nother planet. Hey, look, don't give him a hard time. He's doing it, isn't he? That's more than I'm doing right now. Howie Mandel even gave it a shot, sort of. He had to speed his video up and he was all over the place. I'm not even quite sure what that is. But I will tell you that if you're bored to death in quarantine, and a lot of people are, a few minutes on TikTok with a dance challenge wouldn't hurt you. No, I'm not doing it. That's all you get. That's just my 2 cents. That's worth about 1 cent. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
As we begin to reopen different parts of our state, there are mixed feelings about the pace of reopening.
Some people are eager to return to the stores, but it is still a challenge for ICU doctors and nurses still treating critically ill patients. WFMY News 2's Grace Holland spoke to 2 Triad nurses about their concerns.
More and more people are heading out as the state's reopening plan begins, and ICU nurses want to make sure that doesn't mean more people under their care.
It's just weird to think about seeing what it looks like now.
N95 masks, a gown, gloves, and a pair of safety glasses. This is how nurses like Jessica Walls and Zach Matthews look every day as they go to care for coronavirus patients.
We try to not be in the room as often to save PPE.
Both registered nurses have been caring for those patients for more